Good evening, everyone. It's Tom Sidney Bushnell, aka Numbers, here from Psych Club, from the Tom Numbers Show, News with Tom Numbers, and Top of Your Game. And I've got my buddy, there's always at the top of his game, and he's looking very silvery today, Mr. Matt Geiger from Midas Gold, our official sponsor for the show. Welcome, buddy. How are you, man?
Good. How you doing? Or Vincent from Collateral Damage. Tom.
Exactly. Tom Cruise. Yeah, when Matt came on the screen, I was like, you look like Vincent from Collateral, from the film. And
My
Tom
girlfriend
Cruise.
got me she got me the Tiffany silver necklace for Valentine's Day.
Nice.
Yeah, not bad.
How was your Valentine's Day? Because you said you had to do it with your mate because she couldn't make it.
No, she made it. She made it. Thankfully.
Made it.
Would have looked a little
Okay.
weird, table for two with me
I
and my
know.
buddy Josh.
You have to have a sign saying, we're not a couple, we're just friends.
Yeah, we're just friends.
Just friends.
There's actually a
And then
gay couple that walked in as me and my girlfriend were having dinner. And I just thought about it. I'm like, that could have been me and Josh. But that's okay. We like our gay and lesbian brothers and sisters, right?
Oh, that's funny. Oh, yeah, that's good. I'm sure the waiters will wait, like probably one or two waiters in the restaurant will have a look.
Well, Capitol Grill, they have it's like ranks. Like it's almost like military in there. Like they're at Capitol Grill, they have
Yeah,
like they have like one rank that wears a certain uniform, then like the next rank that wears another uniform.
yeah.
And then they have like the bus boys that just wear like the typical garb. But they're great. I mean, when you come to Arizona, I'll take you to Capitol Grill. It's phenomenal. It's so good.
That'd be cool, man. That'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be cool. So my birthday was yesterday, and I got to go to a nice restaurant. Thanks, buddy. I went to a nice restaurant last night, and courtesy actually of a guy called Eric. So Eric, if you're watching, thank you because he sent a nice birthday gift on PayPal, and I was like, okay, thank you. So I was able to go out to dinner last night, and it was awesome. Yeah, so
Always nice.
yeah, and it had a coat coat de boeuf. That's what it's called. It's like the rump, but it's on the bone.
The rump. Yeah, it's called the rump. You're talking about a
Coat,
ribeye?
not the ribeye. Is it Cote de Boeuf? Chateaubriand. Cote de Boeuf or Chateaubriand, one of them. Anyway,
Okay.
just nice slabs of like rump steak on the bone. It was nice. It was good. Some truffle
Tomahawk.
chip. It was tasty. It was good. So
Good.
thank
Glad
you,
you.
Eric. Much appreciated. Yeah. Yeah. So what do you have for us today, Vincent?
Well, we both our Vincent, I go around killing everybody. What a crazy. People should go see that movie, Collateral Damage. It's actually a great movie.
Yeah,
Great.
it's really
Um,
good.
well, what's kind of interesting is you and I both interviewed Juan.
We did. We did about Antarctica. Yeah. Yeah.
We're kind of releasing ours in pieces, but just as far as my interview with him, he gave some really good insights to,
Sorry, buddy. What did you say then, Matt, about pieces? I missed that part.
we did ours in pieces. So it's about 2.5 hours long, and we're releasing about half hour, 45 minutes at a time with Kelly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was just a great interview. I don't want to give too much away, but it was the first time Kelly and Juan had really sat down, because she's somebody who's really, she's a wonderful person. And she's somebody who's very organic in the way she does her decodes. She was one of the first people on the R thread. Kelly's got a very impressive resume. I would definitely tell your viewers to check her out too, because I sit on her podcast as well. But it was great to see her and Juan finally get a chance to sit down. Kelly had some nice things to bring to the table. For me, I just had asked about gold and silver. I don't think the gold and silver stuff came out in this episode. I'll let everybody go see the episode. It should be either in this one or the third one. I didn't watch this one quite yet because I've been busy all day. It got released this morning. I plan on watching it tonight. But what I'll just say about Juan is he's a wealth of information, the nicest guy. And he's like talking to us in the interview. He's just like, hey, I got to give you this long roundabout spiel. Like, are you okay with that? He's essentially, in so many. I'm like, absolutely. I love listening to his roundabout stuff because it's like when you pay attention, I don't have to tell you. It's like when you
Yeah.
pay attention, you could rewatch Juan interviews 3, 4, 5 times and get something new out of it each time.
Like a Christopher Nolan movie.
Like a Christopher Nolan movie. Yeah, it really is. So I really appreciate him.
Don't try and understand it. Just feel it. That's what
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan did.
Well,
Yeah.
it's just cool because he really, in our interview, he really brought a lot of context to what's going on in the financial system.
Yeah.
And I can relate to what he was saying about, hey, is gold and silver the only place to invest? It's like, no, you gotta pray on that decision. You have to make sure that that's the right decision for you. And I kind of brought up to Kelly, I just said, hey, there was a lady that called in and she wanted to do some real estate, but she also wanted to do some gold and silver. And she was kind of, I said, do the real estate. If there's a money-making opportunity there, take that money, put it to work, because really what Juan talks about when it comes to gold and silver is that money really starts with energy, right? It all starts with energy. Energy is what really makes the world go round. And then money comes from that. And, with this one particular client I had, I just said, no, put that money to work. If you know what you're doing and you can turn a profit, don't put it in the gold and silver. But I would say to the average person, and kind of what I inferred from that is, hey, the average person who maybe doesn't know where to put their money, they just have money sitting in a bank, it's doing nothing, they have nothing creative to do with it, or there's no opportunity. That's a great target to just convert it. Just take that gold, silver, boom, 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 right,
Yeah.
right into the physical product and just wait it out. Wait it out. That was kind of my takeaway. But what about you? You interviewed him. I caught a lot of your interview, not the whole thing.
Yeah, I think ours was like maybe a few hours. I think you were the first one, and I did mine later in the day with him. So he was on the boat, and
Yeah, cool
went
boat.
past him. I know, it was a big one. It looked like a big boat, and he's on the deck, and so we're talking about Antarctica, and I'm asking him about what goes on down there, and he's telling us about the domes, well, multiple domes, under the ice and how that naturally forms, and then how they've actually built civilizations and cities, towns, people living down there. He talked about how after the war, they went and populated it. And so the estimates of, it's probably quite a few million people down there now. And I was like, well, can we go there? Because, mostly it's just tourist stuff on the surface. And it doesn't seem like the easiest place to go to. And there's you hear of all these restrictions, but there's that, and then burrowing into the rock, so it's not just the gap between the ice and the natural formation, with the hot springs and stuff between the ice, because that's really thick, a few miles thick, and then the rocks actually going in further down into the rock. So it's, similar to what's been done around the earth in other places.
Right.
But that whole Antarctica thing is new to us as well. We've heard it in the movement, but it's and he was down there, so I'm sure he's seen probably some of that stuff. I didn't get to actually ask him, say, so have you seen some of these places? But he's describing them, so he's down there. So it's like kind of connect the dots.
It's incredible.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a whole new way of thinking about the world.
yeah, and
A million people down there?
I reckon. Well, he said they took, I think it was 82. It was either 41,000 or 82,000 women back, kind of not long after the Second World War, to basically have progeny, have kids down there. And they said, well, he was saying, well, you don't need necessarily as many men to do that, because man could father many women at once. But he said actually the way they did it was to have a similar amount of men. So I had 82 in my head. So it was either 41,000 of each, male and female, or it was 82 of each. But anyway, whichever way it is, and if they were there to populate, then just do the numbers on it. It's like, you probably got at least grandchildren, maybe great grandchildren now there. So you just do the maths on it. It's like, if it's to breed, and it's anywhere, say 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 each one, it's a lot, So I would say it must be a few million at least down there. And I think there was others he was saying. I have to rewatch the interview because he said so much stuff in it, but I think he was talking about there were some others that were being brought in as well. So it's not just the few handfuls relatively of people on the surface that you hear about. You know, it's an actual civilization, and I got the impression from what he's saying, it's, you know, there's probably pockets all over the place because they have these springs and they have the natural domes with the ice above that are formed because of the hot springs coming up and melting the ice, but the ice is still a few miles thick, and some have burrowed into the rocks, and so they can keep a decent temperature down there because it's all like this ecosystem. But he said the Antarctica, the size of it is 1.5 times bigger than the US.
Wow.
So imagine how many foxholes could be down there, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
They could have brought those people in from World War II saying, hey, you know, the world's going to nuke itself. Everybody needs to stay under. Oh, the nukes went off. The whole world's contaminated. Everybody needs to stay down here.
Yeah.
Reminds me of the Brendan Fraser movie.
Oh, what?
Brendan Fraser. Remember that movie where they think the nuke goes off above their house and they had the underground and he's down there for like 20 years.
Is he? What film was that?
That was let's look it up.
Matt Damon did one a few years ago where they're miniaturized, but it's similar. They've got this kind of secret society underneath the ground. Or they go into it via a tunnel, but they're all miniature, which is strange. Can't remember what that was called. Yeah, but I mean, and he was saying as well how it's an ideal place for communications because
blast from the past.
A blast from the past. All right, yeah. And I imagine, I don't know, but I'm sure it must be resource rich down there. I'd have thought, you know.
I've heard crazy stories about Antarctica where there was that explorer that had the journals.
Admiral Byrd?
Yeah, Admiral Byrd.
Yeah.
That's who it was.
Yeah.
And he wrote about some crazy stuff in those journals.
Talking about like tropical lands beyond the ice and stuff, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Yeah. One didn't really go into that. Like you can't, when you ask him a question, sometimes he'll just give you, he'll go bring you to a certain focus point. So he didn't really say that. But I'm sure it's just touching the surface. And he kind of, people talk about, there's alien craft there, and he kind of wanted to veer us away from that thinking.
Heard like dinosaurs. Yeah, I don't believe any of that. Do you ever think dinosaurs?
I'm open. You know what? I'm open to anything. I'm open to anything. I'm open to anything could be possible, and I just wait to see and discover what it is. Because there's so many people playing different roles and wanting people's focus and energy over there and stuff. And it's like, unless I've been down there, I don't know. But I know I've seen stuff in the sky. I've seen things moving around that aren't planes, and they're not satellites, you know. So in terms of down at Antarctica, I've not been down there, not in this lifetime anyway, not that I remember. So, maybe we should do that. We'll take Josh's plane. Let's go down.
We'll take your plane.
We'll take James's plane down. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll go down. We'll go down there and check it out. And but hey, I mean, I'm open to. I think so many things we're finding out just aren't what they've said. Anything could be possible. I wouldn't rule anything out.
I had a really cool guest today on the podcast right behind me. We had do you know who Michelle Swinnick is?
No, don't think so.
Right. Your viewers need to know who Michelle Swinnick is. She's like the election specialist.
Okay.
And she's found everything that could get everything that happened in 2020 and 2022 completely overturned. She has it all. She literally has it all. And I spent a good 45 minutes with her today in studio right behind me.
Yeah.
And your viewers should definitely check. When I upload that to the Boomerang podcast, your people should check that out. Because she's going to, and then you should follow her. You should watch her more. Like she'll talk. She's been on Jayco. She's been on everybody. And Kate Clements, right? All these people. And her information's incredible. If somebody were to debate her about elections, she's got.
Oh, what's that? Michelle Swinnick, is it?
Yep.
Okay.
Incredible.
Did we talk about this the other day? So after we did a show, there was a tweet or a news headline about Boomerang. Did I tell you about that last
No,
time? I
no.
can't think what it is. I've seen it the last 2 or 3 days. I'm sure people watching put in the comments what I'm referring to. There was something that was going around the channels, and it was Boomerang. And I instantly thought of you and your channel. I was like, there you go. It's another comment. It's like Boomerang, but it was like a main headline to do something about Boomerang. I was like, okay. Not
It
sure if
depends.
it. What's that?
I jacked it from the Q posts, you know. There wasn't such originality, you know, from my part. But, you know, as I've told you before, in Trump's office, he's got the boomerang hanging
Yeah,
on the frame with him and John Jr. right below it.
yeah.
So
But it felt like a subtle nod to what we'd done, either the last show we did or the one before, and it was. I'll have to find it somewhere. It's in the last 2 or 3 days I've seen it, and I was like, oh yeah, that's Matt's name of Matt's podcast. Boom, you know, that's the sort of stuff that happens. It's like we'll talk, and then 24 hours later or less, there's another story with the whole. There it is, you know. Yeah. So Boomerang, and Boomerang in numbers is 90, which is economy, which also is Antarctica, 90.
interesting.
Yeah. So the Antarctica podcast, the economy podcast, the Boomerang podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I do think your viewers, if you go over to Kelly's channel, we had a really good interview and people should check that out because the insights that we got on the economy were fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And in the roundabout stuff, if you can get through it, you know, people just have to you just have to know how Juan speaks, you know. You
Yeah.
just have to know how Juan speaks. And if you can get and internalize the stuff that he's saying when he makes the points, it's like, oh, boom.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
that's a good that
That's
was a
it.
good
Make a cup of coffee, cup of cocoa, sit back, enjoy, listen, watch. And that's what I did. I mean, I asked a few questions, but I basically listened for most of the show. Um, so, you know, I learned some things. It was good. Yeah, it
it's
was a
just
good one.
the guy is just it's like an encyclopedia, a human encyclopedia.
Yeah, there's a few of them. Do you know Gene Decode?
Of course.
So Gene's good. I've got Gene in a couple of weeks. He's like another encyclopedia.
What spooked
Um,
me about Gene was that he advocated for he's like, oh, you know, you can get this item on Amazon. And I'm saying to myself, I'm like,
you can get what on Amazon?
he just said it like you can buy like something he was talking about. He's like, oh, just pick it up on Amazon. And I'm like, I would think you'd be very anti-Amazon given the information you're putting out. Like, I wouldn't be shopping at Amazon
But what
if
was
I
the
were.
product?
I forget. I
Oh,
just heard
okay.
him on I heard him on Nino's show, and I was just, but he did give very good data on the deep underground military bases, so I give him a lot of credit for that. The dumbs.
Yeah. He was, I don't know which show you mean, but maybe he was just saying, I don't know, for the sake of easiness, you can just get it there, you know, if it
That's what he
wasn't.
was.
Yeah. But yeah, I like Gene, and he's another encyclopedia of info. You know, I'll ask a few questions and share a few numbers, but most of the time I'm just listening to the stuff he's saying because it's fascinating. You know, particularly some of the subjects he can come up with or tangents we go off on. Um, yeah, if you ever get the chance to watch the first one I did with him about a year and a half ago, it's a couple hour
I've
show,
seen
but
that.
it's really
Rewatch it.
yeah, rewatch it because I need to rewatch it because there's parts in there where he's talking. I need to rewatch it. People rewatch it, but he's talking about certain things with people, certain frequencies, certain changing in timelines where people got kept like kind of stuck in them. So it's like someone's hand would be cemented through a rock or a wall or something like because of what was going on. So there was a blending of realities, and people kind of got caught in those realities, literally, like almost like fossilized in one universe and then in the other one. And so things like their hand or their arm or leg was cemented in that other reality. And it was
That's
like, what? Yeah. I'm kind of butchering the theme a bit, but it was that.
yeah. I've
I
listened
haven't
to Gene
listened to it for
before,
a
so
while, but I need to rewatch it.
yeah, I can kind of fill in the blanks. He talks about some very out there stuff, dimensions, and
Yeah.
you know, multiple Donald Trumps walking around, and I get
Yeah.
it. multiple
Yeah.
John Juniors walking around.
Yeah. Well, I think,
And
well, I knew
everything.
that ages ago before I met you. There was, I knew there was at least two Trump. I'm sure there's many, but I saw there was at least two. I knew that early lockdown. I was like, and it kind of freaked me out for a couple of days. I was like, really? I was like, there is, you know.
It's mind-blowing stuff.
So it's I've done shows on this couple, you know, a few times, a couple of years ago, but and the Star newspaper is the one that helped me figure it out. So early lockdown, I'm doing all the numbers and codes, and I'm noticing the newspapers are showing me stuff, and so this is, you know, over 3 years ago, but early 2020, while we're in the height of it, the Star newspaper, which is like a tabloid. It's like the Inquirer, but it's a daily one here in England. So they can get away with
We have
stuff.
Star in the United States.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's very kind of cartoony, but it's it's getting more and more back. They've referenced my show. When I do codes and show the paper, I'll hold it up like that, like my phone. I'll do this. I might have done it with you, Matt, and I'll hold up the phone and I'll show the newspaper just for easy. I can say, look, it says this, and there's a picture of the newspaper. So over my shoulder is Darth Vader. So a few days later, they got a picture of Darth Vader in the newspaper that I'm decoding, showing a mobile phone. I was like, thanks, boys. You know. But they had a picture of a Donald Trump and he was Chinese looking. I was like, what's this? So it was a Chinese gentleman that looked like Donald Trump, had the golden hair. But what it was is it was showing so there's a Donald Trump that has his eyes go up slightly like that. And there's another one that kind of smiles downwards, more like my eyes kind of smile downwards. And I was like, and I realized, so I think there's more than one. I think there's more than two, but the two that I recognize quite easily is real Donald Trump and his kind of eyes smile downwards a little bit. He's the one that would always talk out on the tarmac during 2020. He'd always talk to the press. He's the first one that said, great job numbers, just after I'd been given my nickname by people in the community. And then he mentioned my grandmother on 43 seconds. She lived at number 43. I was like, he's communicating, you know, just like we had the other day with Top of Your Game, you know?
Yeah.
But then when you got POTUS, when POTUS was in the White House signing stuff, that POTUS is usually a bit more kind of orange. His eyes go up a bit. And I was like, that's POTUS. And the other one's real Donald Trump. And I do think there's more, but there's at least two. And so that's it. Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't know Gene had spoken about it. It doesn't surprise me that he has, but I'd figured that out a while ago. And there could be, yeah, definitely more than probably two, but at least two.
Significance of Vader in your background.
So that's Dark to Light. So this is like my kind of, it's a little bit of a mic. So I was a big Star Wars fan growing up. Used to collect all the figures. I've got my cold laser wristwatch while we were talking. I've got a bit of tech on my right now, cleaning my blood. But then I've got my soccer ball, my football. I've got my tennis racket. So these are things, this is a bit of a theme of just me growing up. So I love my movies, I love Star Wars, I love my sports. And so Darth Vader, I saw this, I think before 2020, and I saw it in a charity gift shop. So I'm going to have that. So I got it. And there's a Boba Fett down there as well. And I've got an R2-D2. So I used to have loads of figures, but I sold them years ago. I went to this holiday in Greece, got rid of all my stuff.
Who's your favorite Star Wars character?
That's a good question. It's a good question. So Boba Fett's cool. Doesn't really, but he's kind of iconic. Luke's great. I love Han Solo. There you go. Boop. Darth Vader's great, even though he's better. So the question about Darth Vader, like why have we got it there? So the character arc. So he starts off as a good one,
right?
Anakin Skywalker, and in Numbers, the Anakin Skywalker comes to 175, which comes to dark to light in Numbers. It comes to John Kennedy. So it's a good question you asked. Then he goes through this period of darkness, but then right at the end, he gets redeemed. He saves Luke, and he basically kind of, you know, he gets redeemed because you see at the end of the film, you know, when he comes back as a Force ghost, he's back to his previous self, and so it's the thing of dark to light. So I put it up. You know, I'm happy to have it there. Some of the trolls get butthurt. Why are you doing that? I was like, I can tell they're not real, you know, characters. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Who cares? But dark to light. is 125. And Anakin Skywalker is 175, which is consciousness. Luke Skywalker, interestingly enough, is 174, which is real Donald Trump, which is currency exchange. And so when he came down the escalators, 174 is trust the plan. It's the quantum leap. So there's a lot of stuff in there, but Skywalker itself is 125, which is John Kennedy, Dark to Light 125. And it's disclosure 125. And it's also time travel 125. So there's a lot of things. And it's, it's like iconography. But if people know Star Wars, they know that he was good, he went bad, and then he came good again. So it's Dark to Light, And plus, that's the figure that I had in the store. I didn't have any other ones. So I'm like, But I like it. It's like, there's a bit of Star Wars, bit of football, soccer. Football is 83, which is election. And then tennis is 81, which is dollars, which is tower, like Trump Tower. And the other thing, there's truthers in the movement. So there's Matt Letizia, who's a soccer player here in the UK, and also Ricky Lambert, another soccer player. And they're both truthers like ourselves. And then Pat Cash. Remember Pat Cash won Wimbledon in 1987? Pat's a friend as well, and he's a tennis player. So Matt introduced me to both Ricky and to Pat. Ricky's birthday today on the 16th. So it's a nice kind of mini character arc of my childhood,
Nice.
But blended in with the numbers. So
yeah, very cool. Very cool. Yeah. My background is a bunch of 107 stuff, Kennedy, Trump.
Yeah. And Darth Vader is 101, which is immortal. It's got the immortal spirit, and it's also Melchizedek, and a lot of esoteric people and spiritual people like that. And others say, oh, it's Melchizedek. A lot of the good things kind of got captured as well. So it's just everything's coming back round, But immortal is 101. Durdle Door is 101, which is a big rock face down the coast here. But yeah, I'll probably add other bits as I go along, I found my Bob Boba Fett just a few weeks ago, so he's up. And there's also, I just knocked off. That was a card of Melania and Donald.
Seen it. Yeah.
Just falling down. I'll pick it up after. Kathy sent me that a few years ago. So it was a card. So I put that up as well. So, so there's Darth Vader, Dark to Light. There's Donald and Melania. And there's Star Wars and tennis and binoculars. You got Bushnell binoculars. They're not Bushnell ones, but they should be. I should probably get them as a sponsor. And a TV, So that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, the Bushnell binoculars are pretty good. It's a good brand.
Yeah. They're out of Canada. What's that?
The relation?
I don't think so, but I don't know many Bushnells, so probably somewhere along the line we are. I've seen this. So a year and a half ago, I was in Kansas, and I drove through, and I went past their building. It was at the weekend, so it was all closed up. But it looks very much like Cyberdyne Systems in Terminator 2. The building does. And this is the funny thing about it. So you've got Bushnell binoculars and the sight finders and range finders and everything else. Those aren't Bushnell ones, but I'd like to, in time, I'm sure I've got to get some. But this is the funny thing, Matt. So in terms of the numbers, it was on number 92, 92's numbers. It was on 93rd Street. 93 is Bushnell. And it was on it was Cody. It was 93rd, and then it was Cody Street as well. This is the funny thing. So my family, one of the places the family grew up in here in England, used to be on a place called Cody Road. And Bushnell binoculars on Cody Street in America. I'm like, we're in a Matrix, And Farnborough is 125 time travel, Dark to Light. It's like the Matrix is everywhere, and I see it all the time. And it's like,
Amazing.
And 92 plus 93 comes to 185 Donald John Trump. So it's just like Bushnell numbers Bushnell 185 Donald John Trump, Book of Revelation. And it was in Kansas City. If you do Kansas City, Missouri, the Missouri side is just slightly over the river. 245, the pure love of Christ, currency revaluation, Thomas Sidney Bushnell. It's like they're everywhere, I wonder who put it there. Who put Bushnell in America on 93rd Street and then the other intersection is Cody
Crazy. And
Street. Like,
I
how does
actually,
that work? You
I
know,
don't know.
like your office is 109. You spell the word 17, it equals 109.
I want to show you this.
Zapruder, 109.
So I get a
Diners
text.
Spencer, 109. You know.
So a friend of mine, good friend of mine, somebody who's a patriot in the truth community. He says some of our friends from the trip have Iraqi dinars, and they heard that such and so's girlfriend got 4-to-1 exchange yesterday. But everywhere I looked, it doesn't exchange them since January 1st. Just thought I'd ask, keep this person on the down low, blah, blah, blah. But supposedly somebody that we know exchanged their dinar in 4-to-1. And I've been calling the dinar, the dinar thing?
Yeah, yeah.
I own some. I bought some of the actual physical currency. Just I give it out. But
Yeah.
supposedly somebody cashed theirs in 4-to-1.
Do you just like, did anyone else do it, or was it just the one person?
This is just what I heard. I'm just telling you from somebody who I trust.
Okay. We'll talk off screen.
Yeah. But
People
I
have been
just
saying that, like that guy Ariel on Twitter, who I like most of his stuff. Sometimes he has a pop at President Trump, and that always makes me go, don't like that. 98% truth, and then two pops. I'm not too au fait with that. But and then you read why he's saying, and it's not too much of a pop, but it's still a bit kind of, I don't know. I just don't criticize President Trump about anything. You know, there's no need to. So, but he's been telling people to go to the banks, talk to the managers, not the tellers, but talk to the managers, get a relationship with them, and then you can start. Well, I don't know if he's actually said you can exchange, but he's saying get in the seat, get the process going, get a relationship with them. But that's interesting. If a lady's actually done that, I mean, hey,
you're dependent upon exchanges. That's the problem.
So that again.
If you need to cash out, you're dependent upon an exchange, right? Where an exchange is where buyers get connected with sellers, right? So, what happens when these exchanges go down, right? And that's why I'm such a fan of gold and silver, is because I've thought about that. I've thought through about that, which is you don't need an exchange. It is money. It's the real deal in and of itself.
Yeah.
If anything, exchanges will be designed and accustomed to what you have versus what other people have. As a matter of fact, in the interview that Kelly and I did with Juan, we'll talk about that. I would definitely encourage your viewers, because your audience and Kelly's audience, you guys should be all connected. It should be like the audience is like, it should be the same group of people, because what you offer is phenomenal and Kelly offers something phenomenal also. And it's like, I think your viewers should really, it's Kellyanne Hub News. You can find her on Telegram is probably the best place to go because that's the easiest. But Kelly is Kelli and then ANN. Your viewers should really, her viewers should come to you, and they have, and your viewers should go to her, because you guys are like peas in a pod, in my view. I mean, I think that's what got me excited about working with you, is you have like kind of a different angle on things. She follows more of the junior path, which is intriguing because some of the other stuff she's uncovered along the way is incredible. I mean, she's just, outstanding. But it's stuff like this when I see, Iraqi dinars being converted. It makes me say to myself, I'm like, all right, I heard about the first time I heard about the Iraqi dinar stuff was like 2012, 2013. And they would call up the gold company. I was at a different gold company at that time. It's before I came to Midas. And I'm like, obviously I was still living in the matrix, but I'm like, I get off the phone with the person, I'm like, this person's out of their mind.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But it just goes to show, if this is true, a lot of the things that we thought were ridiculous may actually may hold some weight.
This person that got in touch with you about exchanging, is that the place that they exchanged, is it close to you in Arizona?
I don't know where they exchanged it. I have no idea.
Okay.
They closed down that exchange to do it. So I'm not advising people. I wouldn't go buy Iraqi dinar right now at all. I'm still, I wouldn't do it. If anything,
They closed it. So after the exchange happened, they closed it down.
I guess so.
Really? Because they didn't need any more. They didn't need any more.
Maybe they're going to open it up. Maybe they're going to open it up here and there and say, hey, you can turn them in. Who the hell knows? But it's just
Huh.
interesting because it has to do with money and it has to do with a very fringe concept that I heard about a long time ago that I thought was ridiculous. And now, if this is true, I mean, what else is possible?
Yeah. Maybe maybe they're doing it kind of, I don't know, maybe just certain pin places where people can go that are in the know. I do believe, and I'm going to say it again and I'm going to say it clearly, I believe, because President Trump talked about the level playing field. He's talked about that. And he did that whole piece during lockdown. So he did that prior to lockdown, but then in lockdown, he did the thing about the RV and he coded all of that out. He said, I'm going to take our first lady back to New York in an RV. And I've done stuff on that before, but that's all coded. And it all points, from my perspective, it points to November 5th. So if you do level playing field, if you just do that phrase, that sentence in gematria, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, it comes to 176. 176 comes to November the 5th. It comes to Back to the Future. What's the very first time jump in Back to the Future? It's from October 26th, back into the past, November 5th. Yeah, November 5th. Emmett Brown says, November 5th, 1955. That's when I invented time travel. Emmett Brown in Numbers is 148, which is simple gematria, which is the coding I do. 148 is time traveler, the American way to spell it with the one L. And it's Donald J. Trump, 148. Donald J. Trump. Here, look, as you know anyway, 148, but the art of the deal is 148. That's Emmett Brown, 148. That's all tied to November 5th, because if you just do art of the deal, which sometimes it's referred to as, it's 115. 115 is 11/5, which is November 5th. And who owns? So John DeLorean, the DeLorean time machine, John DeLorean used to own a property in New Hampshire. Sorry, no, in New Jersey. And who owns that property now? Donald Trump. It's Trump National Bedminster, the golf complex. John DeLorean used to own it. You have to travel 88 miles per hour. 88 is Trump in numbers. What's going on, people?
This is
it's all here. It's all here.
There.
And Trump has said level playing field. Level playing field is 176 in numbers, which is November the 5th, which is Back to the Future, 176. 9/11, November 5th this year, and Donald Trump and Back to the Future and time travel are all intrinsically connected. The whole thing, they're all intrinsically connected. And it's all intrinsically connected with the RV as well. I'll do more. I'll look at the decodes I did on the RV when he said about an RV, 3 years ago. But that's all tied to September 11th, which is also then forwards and backwards onto November 5th of this year with the election, because it's the calling election made sure, 246, yes, the 5th of November. In the twinkling of an eye. Something's coming, people, and I tell you, it's 310 to Yuma. The 310th day of the year is November 5th of this year because it's a leap year. Leap is 34 in numbers, which is grace. 34 is kick. The kick level is in Inception. Inception is 105. 105 is Matt Geiger. Savior is 105. The Savior is 138, which is Donald Trump. People won't like that, but some of them will love it. 138 is revaluation, Donald Trump. 138 is River Thames. Which is right next to where the whole thing of November 5th happened years ago in England with the Houses of Parliament. 138 is the gold reset. 138 is the gold exchange. Everything is all tied together. Dome of the Rock, the home of the Abraham Accords, which it represents, is Muslims, Jews, and Christians. It's the Dome of the Rock. It's that place of real estate that they've been focused on, and it's gold. The Dome of the Rock is 138. The pyramids is 138. 138 is Donald Trump. In Tenet, the Christopher Nolan film, where they do reversal and inversion going back and forth, they talk about this grand builder. Who's a grand builder? He's one of the great builders, President Trump, and talks about this pyramid and how they simultaneously press a button that will detonate and destroy the Earth, but at the same time recreates it. Something's coming, people, and it's going to be biblical and it's going to be glorious for the pure in heart. And this man is behind all of it.
That's heavy, Doc.
It is. I know my stuff. I've been blessed. I've been given it, and it comes to me, and I figure it out, and it's there. But I'm given it from somewhere, and something higher, and it comes to
There's
me.
no
and
way.
For some reason, they chose me, and it's settled upon me, and I have to say what I know.
There's no way these coincidences are just happening randomly. It's too. There's just too much. It's too much.
Too much of it. I've got thousands of them, and I never look for them. They just come. I'm lucky. They come. They're in the east. They're around. If people, Kathy, Rachel, other people that do numbers, they can grab it. They can seize them. They see them. And it's there for anybody when they're ready. And this guy does it all the time. He does it all the time. In the speech, when he talks about the level playing field, I think I mentioned it before in the other show, a few minutes before, he misspeaks a word. And the misspeak is 115. 115 is out of the deal. It's positive because it's positive what's going to happen. Election's 83, which is negative, but you add them together, it's 198, the resurrection, President Trump, Statue of Liberty, calm before the storm. But 115 is 11.5, which is November 5th. There's a reason that's been chosen. It's everywhere. It's all encompassing. It's everywhere. I don't know exactly how they're going to do it, but they're going to do it.
Read it again. You know what we're both going to do? I'm going to take my copy home up here, and I'm going to read my copy of Art of the Deal again.
Yes.
You should read it again, see what we find.
Yeah. There's so much in there. It's
a book that really, you'll read that book in a day. It's so exciting. It's such an exciting book to read that you could literally read that in a couple hours. Easily. No problem.
Okay, this one, buddy. I just opened up my bookmark. It's Blade Runner. So Blade Runner in numbers is 114, which is JFK Jr. So Junior, the full word, 87, Truth, Justice. Stadium. There's a thing with that with Batman. We thought we might have seen it last weekend, but still maybe it will come to pass. And then 114 is frequency. I think there's going to be something about frequency that's going to change all this in regards to reality. But 114 is trump card. A trump card is 115 in numbers. 11.5 is November 5th. Art of the deal. It's everywhere.
Crazy.
It's everywhere, man. It's coming. Something massive's coming. And if you can get in early on the RV, then brilliant, But once it happens, though, it will be for everybody. And I have a theory. I'm not an economist, but I have a... Sorry, buddy.
Said I'll see you there. It's for me and you.
Exactly. It's for all of us. So I have a theory, and I feel it's true. I'm just going to say what it is. I might have said this before, but I feel when the RV and all this change is all said and done, there will be a point, and people argue with this, but I don't mind if they argue with it. You can have a look at it, test it. I feel that eventually, once all this done, and there'll probably be space, as with all of it, it's like a transition to greatness. That's what President Trump says. The transition to greatness. Transition to greatness is 282 in numbers, which is 88 miles per hour. So there's a transition, but there's also twinklings as well, i.e. things happen quantumly and they change. The sugary fairy dust of when Back to the Future, his reality is all changed and it's all glistening, But I feel that eventually, once all this is said and done, I think everybody will have an equal portion, just like we have equal amounts of air. We don't fight over the air. We all share it. I think money, gold, silver, riches will be like that for everybody eventually. Because if you have a few people in the world that have more than others, automatically you're in the same system that we're in.
Right.
They're always going to be in servitude to the people that have more. That can't happen. So when President Trump says that a level playing field, I believe him. And then he says, then you can compete. So maybe there's an opportunity for some people just want to rest. They just want to have pastimes, but then people want to do certain hobbies or work in certain ways. Great. And people say, well, who's going to do all the menial jobs? I'm going to put it out now. AI is going to do that. That's what's going to happen, in my opinion. There's a reason that AI is out there right now. There's a reason they're telling us, and people think it's all this fear stuff. No, once the God event happens, AI will be doing, if you need certain things done, If you want to do it as your hobby or as a pastime or be the best person at it, fantastic. But you're not going to be forced to do it. And AI will be able to do other stuff. And some people might not like that, but I, I don't mind. That's what it's going to be. Everyone will have an equal portion, and AI will be doing all the other stuff that people don't necessarily need to or want to do.
Hey, could be.
That's what I see, buddy. That's what I see that's coming. Because I know some other numbers about AI, which I'll reveal for another show, and it's all entitled. It's all in this. Everything maps out. Everything maps out.
Part of the deal. It's at the epicenter of it all.
It is. It is.
People should get a copy and read it. It's a great book. I mean, tells the
Trump
whole story.
intelligence.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Cool, man.
I'm part of the deal.
We're good to be with you.
You too, buddy. How can people find you?
I would say Boomerang Podcast. Boomerang Podcast is a good way to do it. You can call me directly. My number's on the screen. Right.
Did we get that up today? Yeah, there it is. What's the number? Read it out for us.
Yep, 480-725-0536. And I love talking to your viewers. You know, they're great. It's an intelligent conversation. People that get it. But yeah, I would definitely say convert whatever you can, move it over, get into the real deal. I got millions of dollars of gold and silver about 50 feet away from me. You know, so I have the inventory here. I'm not one of these call centers. You know, I just took out one of the little office rooms, turned it into a studio, and that's what I do this at. But I'm a gold shop. You know, you can see them on Deer Valley. You know, if you Google image me, 625 West Deer Valley Road, I'm just in a shopping center. You know, I deal with the general public. Yeah. You know, kind of do these podcasts, not to just get my name out there and get the company name out there, but I enjoy it. You know, I'm one of your, like I always tell you, I'm one of your viewers. I'm the same person. I just happen to be doing gold and silver. And I think it's a very important time to get out of the fake money at the very least. And I don't think it's a very long holding time. I think realistically, you're probably in gold and silver for the next 1.5 to 2.5 years. It's just a bridge. It's just a way to get you from the system we're in now, sidestep whatever's coming, whatever crash, and then you have a buy into the new system. You're made whole.
Yeah. Well, the crash is going to happen this year. Mm-hmm. We go back to Trump as well. If you have Trump as your standard, which I do,
you too.
Then Trump said that under Biden, the stock market will crash. And as you eloquently put a couple of shows ago, that's all tied to the bond market. So they'll all go down. And it's like, so what happens? Then money goes into other things, commodities, assets, real money, which is gold and silver. So it's like, it is a bridge. It's like, and what's the word? What's bridge in numbers? It's 45. Who's the 45th president? President Trump. And I've said this before, Donald Trump is 138 in numbers. Gold is 38 in numbers. So if 138 is revaluation 138, the gold reset 138. Donald John Trump is 185 in numbers, which is the silver reset. Silver is 85 in numbers. That's why he'll change his hair color, like you said, to gold and to silver. That's why you probably put on your silver suit today, you know?
Funny guy. No, awesome, man. That's incredible insights. Thank you for that. That's awesome. And thank you for having me as always.
It's a pleasure, buddy. Thanks for coming on, and I'll see you in a few days. What you got for the weekend? Anything fun?
Happy birthday. I got to do a Second Amendment rally tomorrow. We're doing a little booth. So I got to set up a booth, and then I'll be hanging with some podcasters. Lewis Herms. I don't know if you know Lewis Herms.
Yeah.
Mark Anthony. A couple of them. It's Mark Anthony's 50th birthday tomorrow. Don't tell anybody I told you that.
Okay, but, we won't tell anyone. We won't tell anyone.
So they're coming to town, so we're going to be getting together with them. And then I got the 2A rally in the morning down at the city capitol building. We're just going to have a gold silver booth there. I just meet and greet everybody.
Yeah.
Put a piece of gold in people's hands. It's heavy. People like to feel it.
Yeah.
I'll just try to put as much work as I can in, but it's a grind, man. It's a lot of work when you do, I'm here in the storefront. I do the podcast. I do the events. It's like, it's a lot of time.
Well, Matt, maybe you should tell people you've been using a time machine. So you've got 3 of you. That's maybe what it is. Time machine is 100.
I
the
need one.
reset. Yeah,
I
I
need
know, I know the feeling. I need
Friday,
one.
and I'm getting tired, but I'll pull through. I'm off Monday, so
Oh, good. And
but
Monday in numbers is 72 money. So there you go. America First is 122 Millennium. America First is also America Money 122. Donald Money 122. So maybe there's a clue to that, you know.
it's like it. Cool, man.
Good stuff, buddy. We'll have a great weekend.
Thank you. Good to see you.
I'll see you this side of the weekend. I'll see you in a few days.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you.
And give Matt a call. If you're thinking about it, give him a call. He's great. Cheers,
Thanks,
bro.
bro.
Take care, man.
Yeah.
Bye.